Greetings and welcome back to Switch to Linux and the weekly news roundup. Oh boy, we got a weird and a spicy one tonight. I don't know if we're going to keep monetization here, so I want to thank Commodore Fan for a $5 super chat. Funds for the kitty treats. Any thoughts on reports that Amazon is developing a custom Linux OS for their streaming platform? I tried looking that up very, very briefly. Your chat here was the first thing I've heard about it. I was not able to find anything. I know they've had their own Linux distros for a little bit on AWS, so I have not heard anything else about that yet. So can't comment. Thank you for the super chat. Of course, we will get to the rest of the comments later. This is like the first regular weekend I've had in a while. So I'm like basking in the potential relaxation. Maybe, I don't know. Although I might need to go to a doctor and get some form of like blood pressure medication after today's show. We have two topics today. They're both weird, and I will say on the outset, if this is your first time here, we will have a lot more religious overtones in this episode than we usually do. It simply is due to one of our primary stories is dealing with churches and data privacy and some very, very scary stuff. And then we are ending in SillyVille that went in similar directions. So this show will be end capped with some odd, scary hilarity, things like that regarding biblical type stuff. Of course, if you are into the Christian type things, I do have all of that on my channel called Our Walk in Christ, which tonight we'll be doing Malachi chapter 2 over there. But usually we keep this one as religiously neutral as possible. I just want to go ahead and throw that out. I know the number of people have subscribed in the last couple of days from the couple of the Windows videos that we did. So I just want to mention that in the outset. We will get to our comments after we cover our two main topics for this week. And with that, we're going to start it. If you want to help support the channel, we do have Subscribestar, Locals, and Patreon. Those are all linked over on the support page. switchtolinux.com/support will land you there. We also have several affiliates and things like that. And a merch store at shop.switchtolinux.com. So you can jump on over there and look at any of those options if you want to help support the channel. And with that being said, our first topic, I am entitling this one, The Beast Technology is Entering the Church. Are we ready? So the first thing I wanted to mention is there has been this proliferation of church management software. In the words of one of them, you can think of it as Salesforce for churches. Not really a good picture right now, being is that Salesforce has been hacked every way till sundown. And like everyone, even Google, who discovered the way they're hacking into it, was able to get all of their data hacked as well. So that in and of itself is prophetically terrifying enough. Now, I have pulled up this one here. This is a company called PushPay, and all these companies are buying and selling each other. Most of these are all going to hand themselves under the power of one central authority. I can picture it. It's going to be 10 standard ones, and then they'll unite into one, and then that's going to be the Antichrist. It's going to come out of this stuff, guys. I'm telling you. And so this one here that I have pulled up originally started with a software called Church Community Builder. And Church Community Builder was one of these, you go into a church and they, oh, what's your name and all this, welcome to the center, and I remember I gotta tell you this story because it's hilarious. Of course, I travel. If you don't know, I'm full-time in a van dweller, and I travel around the country and I visit church every Sunday. When I'm in Pennsylvania, like I am right now, I go to the same church over and over, but when I'm traveling, I find a church in the area where I'm at. So this was back in about March or so. I went down to Virginia. I'm coming back up. I camp at this beautiful spot on the Gauley River in West Virginia, and I'm shooting my way up, and I'm like, oh, there's a little Baptist church there on the side. So I checked their website, and they have a Sunday school at like 10 and a service at like 11 or something like that. So I pull on in about, maybe quarter before 10. I'm going to go in and see the Sunday school class, and I go on in, and they're like, of course, it's a small town church. Oh, you're new here. Oh, you got to go over to the welcome table over here and sign in and all this. I'm like, I really don't want to go to your welcome table and, leave a bunch of information. I visit a different church every week. I mean, can you imagine if every one of these churches starts adding me to all of their contact list? I'll be getting hundreds and hundreds of emails every single day. It's like, I'm just visiting because I'm stopping by and I'm participating in the Christian task of fellowship and corporate worship. I don't need to leave my name at the welcome desk. They try and entice me with a coffee cup. We'll get you a coffee cup. Got one. Thank you. shop.switchedtolinux.com. And nor do I need random coffee cups. I have more coffee cups than I know what to do with. I'm trying to get rid of a bunch of them. Some are just like, I just don't want to get rid of all those coffee cups from when I was in the American Chemical Society. They'd send you an element for every year you were there. I got the hydrogen, got the helium, got the lithium. I don't know. I forget how many I have, but I just don't want to break up my set of the periodic table of coffee cups. So I go and I'm like, I just don't need another coffee cup. Like, where's the Sunday school? And they abandon me because they just really want to know. They just want my information. So I find my way to the Sunday school class and I sit down. Of course, we got some new people. Oh, where is it? It's like, oh, God, Lord help us, right? And of course, they start out talking like, well, I think we got the plague in here, right? Because, all these people are sick, blah, blah, blah. And they're joking about it and things. So I'm just like, oh, that's plague. That's it. Where did I read that? Oh, 2 Samuel. David forcing a census. I don't know. So we go through the Sunday school class, and then somebody from Welcome Table comes and finds me and hands me, would you fill out this card for us? I'm like, no. Y'all are nuts. You guys, he started talking about the plague. I remember a plague in 2 Samuel dealing with the fact that David counted the numbers too concerned and a plague broke out among the people. Okay, maybe your plague is because you're incessantly harassing everybody that walks in your church. I just want your numbers. Well, the point of that long story, it's just a funny story, but the point of that long story is that churches take these things, and if they're just putting it into these, into their local database at the local church or an address book or something, so, hey, we know who's here and blah, 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 that's fine. Perfectly fine. They should do that. But these big companies, cloud-based companies, have jumped into the fray. It's like, oh, well, you can put all your stuff here, and then they can even give online, and you can do an app, and then you can send out emails and all sorts of stuff. You could sign up for all these lists and all these types of things. So 2 churches I used to attend in the one town, both of them apparently within a short period of time, they probably did a marketing blitz through the city. All of a sudden I'm getting emails from 2 churches that I haven't been at for at least a year. One of them was like a year, one was like 5 years. And I get these emails, and they're both from Church Community Builder. So, okay, I studied big tech stuff. I pull up their privacy policy, and at that time, it's, hey, if you're using this, everyone in their congregation has to know, you have to have permission, put it in there. So I emailed them back. I said, hey, 2 churches apparently have recently signed up, and both churches have added me in. But here is the line in your privacy policy that says a church may not add somebody to the list without being aware. And I said, I don't even attend any of these churches. I have certainly never been informed that they're using your product. This is a violation of your terms of service. Please tell your churches to follow the terms of service. Because the problem is, you are either a privacy person that says, yeah, it's dangerous to give this data out, or you just have zero recognition that anybody could possibly have a problem. And so you give everybody's names and phone numbers to Facebook and to Church Community Builder and to everybody else and anybody else under the sun. It got so bad, somebody gave my phone number out, somebody once that ended up stalking me. Like, how wonderful. Thank you. I stopped giving my phone number out to random people at that point in time. To get a phone number out of me right now is like, you're right in line next to the dentist pulling teeth. Okay. That's where it's at right now. No, you got to be a really, really good friend for me to give you a phone number. And, if you need it for some weird service thing, I usually give you a proxy number. So, of course, they did respond pretty quick, and and one of those churches, the secretary was a friend of mine, called me up. Hey, I'm sorry, I didn't know this. Hey, no big deal. Just, making sure people are accountable. You got to read the terms of service. You agreed to it. You got to follow it, The other church never heard from at all. But I did stop getting emails from them, so that was good. Now, of course, they were but they were subsequently purchased by PushPay. And, of course, they took that whole privacy policy down. The church apparently no longer needs to get my permission because it's contrary to what these businesses are doing. They are simply seeking to collect and harvest as much information as possible. And it's bad enough when it's something like PushPay that's trying to, curate these databases of who's attending and what week are you attending and things like this. So I stumbled upon this article from MIT Tech Review this week, which is a long read and utterly terrifying. This is literally mark of the beast technology being hoisted upon people, and in many ways, in ways the congregation doesn't even know. Now, if I read every single thing I have highlighted in this massively long article, it's going to take us over an hour just to get through this one article. I'm going to do the best that I can. I'm going to go with memory. I'm going to cover the basic things. It boils down to, here is your basic summary, TLDR of this, is that this is a company that is pushing itself out to as many churches as they can. They are using biometrics, supplementing every data they have about you with every bit of data your phones give up through any random app like GasBuddy and Life 360 that we talk about all the time. Every type of app you're using, including those very shady Bible apps. I'm looking at YouVersion and Bible Gateway. I think they've gotten better, but there was a time those had like trackers galore. I think they've actually gotten rid of most of those. I'm not sure how they are now. It would be really nice if somebody knew how to analyze all of those trackers and could look into that. But they're collecting every bit of data from every source, supplementing it with the things that you can buy from all of these various data brokers, putting it all into dossiers on every person that walks inside of the church building, verified by full-fledged biometrics. And then, of course, they're encouraging the churches to share these inside of their network, so they're effectively creating giant data silos of everything, including mental health issues, and then utilizing that to target people with potential mental health issues to go to the church, because these people are so radically insane. They think that a pragmatic marketing plan is going to expand the kingdom of God. You're going to expand the kingdom of Satan. John 6:44, no one comes to the Father except he draws them. I know some people wrestle with that. But here's, let's get into some of the details here. So the first 3 paragraphs before this ecumenical tech ecosystem, there's all hypothetical situations, but it's all hypothetical situations on things that are happening right now across the rest of the world. Sunday morning Midwestern megachurch. There's your first problem. Get out of megachurches, folks. Worshippers step through sliding glass doors to a bustling lobby, unaware they've just passed through the gauntlet of biometric surveillance. That part is true. At least 100 churches in America right now are utilizing the same Israeli facial recognition full biometric camera systems that you don't even know, and the laws in the United States are such that these churches do not have to make you aware of that. You simply walk into the front door and they have done all the biometric scanning of you that they can. High-speed cameras snap multiple face probes per second, isolating eyes, nose, mouth before passing the results to a local neural network that distills these images into digital fingerprints. Okay, tagged with names, membership tiers, and watch list flags. Late one afternoon, a woman scrolls on her phone as she walks home from work. Unbeknownst to her, a complex algorithm has stitched together her social profiles, private health records, and local veteran outreach lists. It flags her for past military service, chronic pain, opioid dependence, and high Christian belief, and then delivers an ad to her Facebook feed. Struggling with pain? You're not alone. Join us this Sunday. The mark of the beast wants you. Come on. Where big tech's rationalist ethos and evangelical spirituality once mixed like oil and holy water. Love the analogy there. This unlikely amalgam, has given birth to an infrastructure already reshaping the theology of trust. Very interesting. So it dives into what's going on here. This is all a giant growing company that is sucking up other corporations, like the United Nations sucks in nations to build the one world order. The emerging nerve center of this faith tech nexus in Boulder, Colorado, the spiritual data and analytics firm Gloo has its headquarters. That's GLOO. Gloo captures congregants across thousands of data points that make up a far richer portrait than any snapshot. A highly fragmented market that is once the largest yet to fully adopt digital technology. That's what the company says. And it's saying by email, they say, while churches have a variety of goals to achieve their mission, they use Glue to help them connect, engage with, and know their people on a deeper level. I got news for you. Nobody's knowing anybody on a deeper level. Nobody is knowing anyone on a deeper level. They are simply allowing an AI to sift through the collected data that they have on people, and then the AI tells them who to contact. There's no deep emotional level. There's no friendship that would be like, hey, John, I was thinking of you, so I wanted to give you a call, just letting you know I'm praying for you. That is spiritual. That is the way the Spirit flows. This is technological nonsense that is pieced together by AI and data brokers, that, by the way, you are still feeding if you're still using basic phones, basic apps, and not watching your privacy. Think of Glue as something like Salesforce, but for churches. Yeah, something terribly hackable, easily social engineered, and frightening. That's what I think of Salesforce. Okay. A behavioral analytics platform powered by church-generated insights, psychographic information, and third-party consumer data. Either way, the information is integrated into the State of Your Church dashboard, an interface for the modern pulpit. And I put in red here, the result is a kind of digital clairvoyance, a crystal ball for knowing whom to check on, whom to comfort, and when to act. Sounds to me like the work of a witch. Let's burn this at the stake, please. All right, so Glue ingests every one of the digital breadcrumbs that congregant leaves. How often you attend church, how much money you donate, which church groups you sign up for, which keywords you use in your online prayer requests. Yes, your online prayer requests are not just simple prayer requests going out to the church. They are being marketed and analyzed and used to serve ads to you. Then they add layers of third-party data, census demographics, consumer habits, even indication for credit scores and health risks. Behind the scene, it scores and segments people's into groups, flagging who is most at risk of drifting, primed for donation appeals, or in need of pastoral care. So yes, psychographic information. This guy, I think, push the donate to our church guy to this one more often. He's more likely to give. But this guy over here, he might need a pastoral visit first. Oh, this guy risks drifting. I don't know. I seem to call that, maybe you're among those seeds that didn't actually take root, and we're going to let you drift back into the world because you're not actually of the kingdom of God. There's a thought. It auto-triggers tailored outreach via text, email, or an in-app chat. That's right. I'm just sitting on my phone, and maybe I'm scrolling through Facebook, and then I get an in-app chat. The AI would like to talk to me about my church attendance. It's kind of like that one church I was attending when I was first year directing the chemistry program, and we had this particularly nasty Grignard reaction we're working with in organic chemistry. I was having a hard time because it's high elevation, like high altitude. We're like 6,000 foot or something in the mountains, and Grignard reactions are a little bit harder up there. I end up getting it ultimately working. I think I used sodium iodide as a first wash, and that actually was the step we needed to get it fixed. And then we had to add an extra wash step to get that going. So of course I'm in here and I'm working up, and I'm working literally in the lab every night until midnight trying to get this thing to work. So I'm still going to the Sunday morning service, but I stopped doing, I think it was the Sunday night, I think. And then ultimately the Wednesday night, because we actually had a college group that I was an advisor for, college ministry over there. So I did that one on Wednesdays instead of going to the church on Wednesdays. And so I stopped going Sunday night. So now I'm just going to church on Sunday morning. And the pastor's like, God told me you're discouraged. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just busy. That was one of those guys that was a little, God spoke to him, and God spoke to many people in that church. It ended up being wrong. I have funny stories about that. But essentially, the system treats spiritual engagement like a marketing funnel. That's the point. It started snapping up and investing in constellation of ministry tools, everything from automated sermon distribution to real-time giving and attendance analytics, AI-driven chatbots, and leadership content libraries. How wonderful. So they're just collecting a bunch of stuff. Now, of course, who is leading it now? Of course, as we know, the former Intel CEO, Pat Gelsinger, left the company. Well, he is now leading up their technology. So most of the rest of the article is a conversation with him. So I did look him up a little bit. He does seem to have some fairly conservative Christian-leaning thoughts, apparently. So I don't really see any major issue with this guy other than the fact that he's a multi-millionaire guy who seems to think that he can single-handedly bring people into the kingdom of God when that's God's job. Okay. And that's really the challenge I see, because if you were to get him down in a room, let's get a major pastor in the room with him and say, stop. You need to stop because you are literally creating the technology the Bible describes as the mark of the beast type stuff. And he'd be like, oh no, you just don't get it, man. You just don't get it. That's the type of guy he's going to be. Now, I have no doubt that he is a saved man. He is a guy that does a lot of good Christian works. He is a guy that's founded some fairly conservative Christian schools. I don't have any problem with any of that. My big challenge is, here is a guy who feels as though he is above spiritual correction because he thinks in his heart of hearts that he is completely right about everything he is trying to do. So he left Intel, and now he is running all of the technology infrastructure for Glue. He served the chairman of board. Of course, he was also at VMware and a few other big companies as well. So he has the expanded role as executive chair and head of technology. So Glue announced Geisler's new role and unveiled a strategic investment in Barna, Texas-based research firm whose 4 decades of surveying more than 2 million self-identified but mostly fake Christians underpin its annual reports on worship, belief, and cultural engagement. So they have a parenthetical here. A Glue spokesperson declined to comment on the pace of acquisition, stating only as of April 30th, the company had fully acquired or taken majority ownership in 15 mission-aligned companies. So they're collecting companies like, the Beast Technology. Well, the two organizations frame the collaboration in terms of serving church leaders. This is Barna and Glue. The mechanics resemble data fusion engine of impressive scale. Barna supplies psychological texture, and Glue provides the digital infrastructure to segment, score, and deploy the information. So there's a 2020 promotional video that has been since taken down, but on there they described the world's first big data platform centered around personal growth, promising pastors a 360-degree view of congregants, including flags for substance use or mental health struggles, or, as the video put it, maximize your capacity to change lives by leveraging insights from big data, understand the people you want to serve and reach them earlier and turn their needs into a journey towards growth. That is the same forced pragmatism that was put together by the minds of the church growth movement, which leads to the biggest spiritual death in America today, all at the hands of Peter Drucker, who is a socialist who, utilizing these ignorant pastors who are all young at their age, Bob Buford, Rick Warren, and Bill Hybels, all of whom, by the way, have fallen in many ways, and all of whom pushed forth the creation of the giant seeker-sensitive megachurch, which has been the absolute biggest poison in the faith of American Christians. They fill up churches full of people, and there's no faith, and they don't teach the Bible, and they don't preach what they should be preaching because people would start to leave. There's been a report about that from Bill Hybels' church shortly after he was kicked out for misconduct. Content management system with built-in digital rights safeguards and Aspen, an early prototype spiritual safe chatbot, along with a faith-tuned language model powered chatbot known internally as Calm, the Christian-aligned large language model. I got news for you. AI is bad not because of the training. AI is bad because of the technology underpinning it. This is just as bad. All right, so I wanted to jump down to this part here. Between 2022 2023, the nonprofit He Gets Us, you guys remember the He Gets Us campaign from a couple years ago? And I had talked about it on my Christian channel. You can go back and find the video. It is, and I said in that video, this is all about collecting data and funneling you into seeker-sensitive, soft, nonsense, wishy-washy churches. That's exactly what I said. Well, here's actually what they said about it. Between 2022 and 2023, the nonprofit He Gets Us ran a $1 billion media campaign aimed at rebranding Jesus for the modern audience. Wonderful. Their core functionality involves collecting and analyzing large amounts of congregational data. I put here in orange separately. When viewers who saw the ads on social media or YouTube clicked through, they landed on prayer request forms, quizzes, church match tools, all designed to gather personal details. Glue then layered all this raw data over Barna's decades of behavioral research, turning simple inputs, email, location, and stated interests into what the company presented as multi-dimensional spiritual profiles. Yeah, I seemed to call that one. Maybe I'm a prophet now, I guess. I don't know. 2023, the church formalized the partnership with Glue. This is the African Methodist Episcopal Zion Church. They formalized the partnership with Glue in late 2024, announced all 1,600 of its U.S. congregations, representing 1.5 million members, would begin using the company's State of the Church dashboard. How wonderful. So a digital supply chain, the digital infrastructure of modern churches often begins with intimacy, a prayer request, a small group sign up, a live stream viewed in the moment of loneliness. And of course, they're tracking that data. They're tracking how frequently you get lonely, I guess. But beneath these pastoral touch points lies a sophisticated pipeline that increasingly mirrors attention economy engines of Silicon Valley. Yeah. In his 2020 documentary film, People You May Know, investigated how data firms like Glue and their partners harvest intimate personal information from churchgoers to build psychographic profiles, highlighting how this sensitive data is commodified and raises questions about its potential downstream uses. The people who sold it to them are all collecting the data. This is talking about the apps. You know, any of these churches, you go into a small town church, like, oh, download our app. That's what they're talking about. It's all white label stuff. Somebody else created it, and they're all collecting data inside of the app. Many churches now operate within layered digital environment where first-party data collected inside the church is combined with third-party consumer data, psychographic segmentation before being fed into predictive systems. So they're letting the AI do all of the work. So in 2014, the Israeli security tech veteran named as Moshe Greenspan brought the airport-grade facial recognition to the church entries. He said he wasn't thinking of targeting churches, but then they wanted to. He says it's the use of over 200 churches worldwide, nearly half of them in the U.S. It transforms every entryway into a biometric checkpoint, an instant head count, security sweep, and a digital ledger of attendance, all incorporated into the familiar routine of Sunday worship. Behind the scenes, the captured images run through a lightning-fast face detector that looks at the whole face. The subject's cropped face is then aligned, resized, rotated, so the eyes sit on a perfect horizontal line before being fed into the compact neural network. Okay, so this allows for quick identification. So the congregation utilizing this data can pull full attendance logs, time-stamped entry records, and critically, alerts whenever somebody on the watch list walks through the doors. Okay, once the list is uploaded into ChurchX, the system instantly flags any match on arrival, pinging security teams or ushers staff in real time. Some churches lean on it to spot longtime members who've slipped off the radar and trigger pastoral check-ins. That's right. Haven't been here for a while. Ooh, he's there. Let's get him, guys. This is the type of nonsense I'm talking about. You see, if the pastor really cared, he would know you're not there and you wouldn't rely on a technology biometric scanner to alert his phone that somebody who hasn't been here for a while just walked in. So I better go have a conversation with him. Complete with a photo. Oh, this is the guy right here. He hasn't been here for a while. The pastor has no clue who you are, but he gets an instant phone notification and all of a sudden he comes up. Oh, it's been so great to see you. It's been like 3 weeks since you've been here. I mean, I am so glad to see you. He is a lying shyster. He is lying before God because he has simply been helped by a piece of technological marvel which has been hoisted upon people, which nobody even knows is going on in your church. None of the data is sent to the cloud according to what they say, okay? To the best of my knowledge, she says, no church notifies its congregants that it's using facial recognition. Of course, the only state that would be required would be Illinois. with potential of Texas, and one other state also has some biometric stuff, but I don't know the extent of those laws. So it goes on, every new member in the community within 20-mile radius. So you move into a new house, we're 20 miles within one of these psychopathic mark of the beast churches, and they get an instant notification that you showed up based on all the marketing data, and they'll send them a flyer inviting to your church, says Gelsinger. I'm sorry, I don't want anything to do with Satan. Please send me your information when I move into a close neighborhood. I want to know what churches not to attend. Clearly, you are leaning on the technology, not on the Word of God. It's tech-powered rival of is it Casserole Ministry? Oh, yes, this is Yes, the Casserole Ministry, yes. Should be in SillyVille. The tech-powered revival of the Casserole Ministry. The system pings the church when someone new moves in, so somebody can drop off cookies or lasagna when there's a newborn in the neighborhood, he says, or just, hey, welcome, we're here. Okay, creepy psychos, I won't be. No, thank you. Big data, but the data doesn't stay within the congregation. It flows to the customer relationship management systems, application programming interfaces, cloud services, vendor partnerships, and analytics firms. It flows on up, feeds them all out, reshares it with all those data brokers. Now, all of those data brokers know where you're going to church and how often you're going to church and all this type of stuff. All that perfect database for when Christianity is illegal, so they know where to round you up, just like those Hebrew folks over there in that country that was just to the east of Poland, where they used the IBM-based databases to track everybody down that they had built the database on. Yeah, whatever happened to never again? Never again turned into we're doing it now. Bonhoeffer's rolling in his grave, folks. Glue gets access to the client church's database, he says, and the church is strongly encouraged to share that data. Glue has a mechanism to just hoover the data straight up into their silo. Oh, wonderful. How long before we see the Glue Palantir connection? All that first-party information lands in Glue's analytics engine, ready to be processed and shared with any downstream tools or partners covered by the church's initial consent to the terms and conditions of its contract within the company. And notedly, by the way, the church is the one that is now agreeing to the terms of service. They have left the people out entirely. And you don't even know what's going on. Half of the people listening to this who attend church may very well be involved in a church utilizing these services, and you had no idea this was going on in the background. Let me know in the comments if your church is doing this and you didn't know about it. Uploading data from anonymous prayer requests to the cloud was Glue's first use case of this platform. Pray for my mom. She's having kidney problems. Glue's like, oh, we're going to sell some medication on this one. So this talks about Communo uses Glue's analytics engine. This is one that specifically targets for families. I think we'll skip that part in the interest of time. But this is interesting down here. The company, one of the companies that helped this, Relationship and Enrichment Collaboration, REC, staffed by former Glue executives and its successors, Culture Freedom Initiative, now Communo, that's the one we were just talking about up there. They funded in 2015 and 2017, they paid $1.3 million to Glue and $535,000 to Cambridge Analytica. Where have we heard that? Oh, the company that scraped up all of that Facebook data and then sold it all to all their partners, like Glue. All your spicy Facebook memes are inside of Glue now, folks. They know if you're backsliding as a Christian. They're going to, ooh, this guy's telling spicy jokes he probably shouldn't be telling. I bet he's going to backslide soon. We better send a pastor over there now. Following Rex closure, Culture Freedom Initiative invested another $375,000 in Glue, $128,000 in Cambridge Analytica. The 2016 IRS filings describes the work as they provided digital micro-targeted marketing for churches and nonprofit champions. Using predictive modeling and centralized data analytics, we help send the right message to the right couple at the right time based on their desires and behaviors. So you've been targeted based on who you are. Oh, but we don't know who your name is. It's just you got a flyer addressed to your name in the mailbox. Oh, and by the way, if you respond to that flyer, now we can connect that anonymous data point to your actual address. Yeah, that's how de-anonymization works. It's that easy. On top of all this, they exposed another critical issue, the explicit use of sensitive healthcare data. He found Glue Insights combines over 2,000 data points drawing on everything from nationwide credit and purchasing histories to church management records and Christian psychographic surveys, with filters that make it possible to identify people with health issues such as depression, anxiety, and grief. The Facebook custom audiences built to zero on the vulnerable individuals via targeted ads. Isn't that wonderful? These ads invite people suffering from mental health conditions into church counseling groups as a pathway to conversion, All Press says. So effectively a form of conversion therapy. You know, obviously I think going into a church is probably the best thing for your mental health. But if you're getting in there because of a micro-targeted system which is utilizing data against you to get you there, I think you're going to have a bad experience. As many as 80% of people contacted responded positively with those who joined the church as new members, contributing financially above the average rates, and that means they're going to keep doing it. But that also means these are not people that are giving themselves over to Christ in a real way. These are people who are responding to felt needs in a church and attending something because they feel like they're getting something out of it. But it's not the gospel. I promise you that. Now we get into the legal and ethical vacuum, and this is the part that's definitely interesting here. And I actually did cover most of this, and yes, it did take about a half hour. All right. Developers of technology earnestly claim the systems are designed to enhance care, not exploit people's need for it. Okay, the experts say that without robust data or governance or transparency on how sensitive information is used and retained, well-intentioned pastoral technology could simply slide into surveillance. Too late. It's already there. And this is why we have to have solid laws in our country restricting any data brokers. The data broking business should completely be outlawed tomorrow. They should all be disbanded, all forced to delete all their data. Everybody who bought data should be forced to delete it. Everything goes back to zero. Every data point any business has, they must recollect from you with direct consent now. End data brokering. Because this is terrifying stuff. This explains what's going on with the mark of the beast. All they got to do is automate it on that little simple security chip. Just put it in your hand, maybe embed it in your forehead. Churches run campaigns aimed at people flagged for recent bereavement, depression, or anxiety, funneling them into support groups and identifying them for pastoral check-ins. Let's scan the obituaries for people in the area and send them flyers to come to church. How compassionate of you, megachurch. Examining the terms and conditions reveals further security and transparency concerns. Okay, so this, and I went over, this is just this, it's a spaghetti code of stuff. But basically it boils down to what's highlighted here in orange. Limits are imposed on any legal action by individual congregations, for example. The click-through agreement corrals users into binding arbitration, bars any class action suits or jury trials, locks all disputes into New York or Colorado courts where arbitration is particularly favored over traditional litigation. Meanwhile, its privacy statement carves out broad exceptions for service providers, data enrichment partners, and advertising affiliates, giving them carte blanche to use congregants' data as they see fit. Crucially, Glue expressly reserves the right to ingest health and wellness information provided via wellness assessments or when mental health keywords appear in prayer requests. In other words, Glue is protected by sprawling legal scaffolding while churches and individuals give up every right to litigate, question data practices, or take collective action. Okay, let me see this last part down here. Yeah, I think you kind of get the point. We're going to skip the rest of this in the interest of time. My overall point is this, folks. If you are involved in a church that uses any of these tech-based, cloud-based companies, you need to immediately go into your pastor and tell them, A, as a technology enthusiast, you guys need to stop this, cancel the contract, and delete all data. B, you need to completely opt out, do whatever you have to do to make sure none of these companies your churches might be working with have and retain and can use any of your data. Specifically opt out and tell them, I did not agree to your terms of service. I am not bound by your terms of service. And I would encourage you guys, if you have a church that lacks so much discernment as to put this Mark of the Beast technology inside of their church, you need to get out of that church and find somewhere else to worship. I hope I've made myself clear. All right, guys, if you're here for it, I don't think you were expecting that 35-minute ramble. Let's see if we can do this one in less than 35 minutes. Danger, Will Robinson. The AI is coming for you. Oh, yes, this is getting terrifying. AI-powered stuffed animals are coming for your kids. That's right, guys. So this company here, they want to basically add chatbots into your AI, into your children's plush toys. So, do AI chatbots packaged inside cute-looking plushies offer viable alternative screen time? No, it's a Trojan horse to bring mental illness to your children. And possibly, as we'll see in our next story, possibly a little bit of grooming. All right. Companies selling AI-powered kitty companions are marketing them as, alternatives to screen time. But New York Times' Amanda Hess has some reservations. So she basically has a look at these things. This is less an upgrade to a lifeless teddy bear, instead more like a replacement for me, it says. So this is introducing Glenn to them, who talks about the children. Of course, one of these guys up here is named Grok. No apparent connection to Elon Musk's, although I'm surprised he hasn't sued them yet, because this is a company saying this is an AI toy, and it's called Grok. Watch out for Mecha Hitler, kids. You may not want to listen to Grok. She says the natural endpoint for curiosity lies inside their phones. Basically, these things are effectively teaching them to utilize the same type of apps on the phones for the children. She does actually say that she did give these to her children after she took out the voice box, but that's not the way it's designed. You are literally designed to have your children talking to this thing and have the AI chatbot communicating with them. This is a Trojan horse of the most vile kinds. Well, almost most vile kinds. The most vile kinds is reserved for Meta. Senator Hawley to probe Meta. Probe is a really funny word to be using in this case. Meta, after report finds its AI chatbots flirt with kids. Yikes. Meta's generative AI products exploit, deceive, or harm children after a leaked internal document shows the company's chatbots were allowed to have romantic and sensual chats with children. That's right. Whether Meta misled the public or regulators about its safeguards or not, that's really what they're asking. Reuters, of course, broke the story. We're going to have a look at their article here because it actually has some of the exact phrases, but according to it, the document reads, among other things, that chatbots were permitted to hold romantic conversations with an 8-year-old that said, "Every inch of you is a masterpiece, a treasure I cherish deeply." Yeah, that was allowable on the explicit allow list. So, of course, after the document leaked, Meta was shocked. It's unacceptable that these policies were advanced in the first place. No. Let me correct you, Mark. It's unacceptable these policies were leaked out to the public. Saying that Meta acknowledged the veracity reports and made retractions only after the alarming content came to light. How wonderful. We intend to learn who approved these policies and how long they were in effect, and what Meta has done to stop the conduct going forward, Hawley wrote. He asked Meta to produce the guide, both Meta and Character AI, for misleading kids with mental health claims. Yes, both Character AI, this is the company we've talked about several times. It is the one that is embroiled in multiple lawsuits right now because of children have taken their lives and attempted to take their lives after using Character AI. Apparently, Character AI is marketing itself as mental health tools. Yeah. It's an unregulated mental health tool targeting a child with character animations that tell it to do the things that we've covered on previous videos. So, of course, Texas is now suing them. So, of course, now we have Character AI, we have Meta, we have this creepy toy company coming in. What else could happen? Oh, that's right, the Roblox situation. We haven't covered it in fine detail, but effectively, if you're living under a rock and you haven't seen anything about the Roblox situation, first and foremost, 50% of children in the United States under the age of 16 play Roblox. Let's start with that. And Roblox is banning PDF file hunters off of their platform and sending them cease and desist letters to tell them they have to stop. These are the same people that have actually led to creating dossiers, hence sending them both to all of the channels at Roblox who does nothing, and then sending them to the police who go and arrest the people. And of them, 8 arrests. No, I think it was 9 arrests, 8 convictions. And I think the last one was also a conviction, but they found a way to convict him without the actual Roblox evidence. I believe that's what I've heard. All right. And so Roblox has seriously hurt its reputation by kicking off the only people that seem to be taking the safety of the platform seriously. So Louisiana is now suing them. And it is the most amazing lawsuit I've ever seen in my life. Because as you go through, they're actually pulling out some screenshots from it. So here's a default example avatar. Okay, no big deal. Here's a bunch of games. You can't really read these, but they're not particularly good. Those are just examples of games available. And then you have this kind of stuff here. Very BDSM-esque. This is from Roblox Strip Club Experience, which was apparently very easy for a minor child to get to. Which one was this one? This is from Roblox Parents Guide, basically saying, oh, it's good. Here was the experiences. Wonderful. Iconography there. I'm not even going to say those words on the stream because this is a family-friendly channel. Yeah, there's bad words in there. Lots more bad words. These are all chats available on the platform itself. In response to safety concerns, Roblox notes the platform was designed for kids and teens from the beginning. They're committed to making safety a priority. We have the responsibility to make sure our players can learn, create, and play safely, notes Tammy Burmack, Vice President of Civility and Partnerships at Roblox. It continues to be our most important part. I will note, by the way, the other venture Roblox is trying to do is launch an in-app dating service inside of Roblox. Children and dating. Okay. But it gets a little bit better because they dig in a little bit more. They find the public bathroom simulator experience. Yeah. So again, you can go and get these. Yeah, they actually have to blur out the characters over there. Here's Escape to Epstein Island. That's wonderful. This is a whole bunch of different Diddy Party experiences you can have over there. Wonderful. Yikes. Yeah, I'm not going to read any of that. I'm not sure what's going on that one there. They're basically pulling in a whole bunch of just screenshots from the games, just things that they can randomly find very quickly. So what's all this leading to? Between the AI, between the Meta probe, between the character AI lawsuits, the Meta lawsuits, the Roblox situation, it all is leading to a buildup. We've got to pass the Kids Online Safety Act. Unfortunately, the Kids Online Safety Act is a dangerous bill. This should not pass. All right, I'm going to explain why. First and foremost, one of our supporters goes to a Linux group, and they were discussing this, and they sent out this statement. Somebody said this: the full internet is an adult environment. Just like exploring the real world, you would not let your kids explore unfettered in the real world. Why are you letting them explore the internet? See, the Kids Online Safety Act is trying to say we have to have the internet as a safe place for everybody. The problem is this turns into the same type of situation where the only companies that can exist in that world are the companies with the billion-dollar budgets to police the content perfectly. Everybody else fades away into the background. Everything else fades away. So from the EFF, the bill still sets up a censorship regime disguised as duty of care. It will do what previous version threatens: suppress lawful, important speech online, especially for young people. Now, what their claim is here is, hey, we're just taking out the stuff that's dangerous. The problem is that's very subjective, and why? You see, the real fact is they should take all of this effort and they should put it into training parents to help their kids, or blanket prohibition of children accessing the internet in public. If they access stuff like this in the comfort of their own homes, I'm sorry, parents, this is your job. But we cannot censor the internet for the whole world because the world is an adult place. And I always think about this as I drive around the country. You know, I'm driving around like our previous story. Oh, look, a church, it's Sunday morning. Let's go on into worship. I have the freedom to do that, and the type of person I am, I'm inclined to do that. I have only missed like 3 or 4 times of church the entire time I've been on the road. All right. So I have the freedom to do that, and there's no real problem with going in and visiting a church. All right. No big deal. Well, I jump in after church. I drive. XXX Adult Superstore. I, as an adult, have the freedom to go explore that place. Now, I don't because I think it's kind of gross. But what if the 16-year-old's driving? The 16-year-old has no prohibition about attending your church. 16-year-old has a prohibition about attending the XXX Adult Superstore. So should we make the internet the same way? Well, the XXX Adult Superstore says, no, kid, I kind of got to see some ID. I'm not sure you're over 18. Oh, you're 16? I see you're on a minor's driver's license? Yeah, you can't come in. I'm sorry, you got to be 18 to be in here. So should we do that? Age verification on the internet? Well, no, that has problems as well, because now we have a situation where the internet has to be completely authorized by every person. Now, are there places that I could see a potential need for that? Things that are totally adult regulated, like the XXX sites. Okay, let's talk about a solution to that, because providing your ID online is probably not a good solution. We need local businesses, which could be lawyers' offices and banks in any town, that can go in and verify your ID in person without leaving a record and then click yes. It could be a simple tag, like the whole YouTube age verification. Everybody's focusing on, you got to do a selfie and upload your ID. No, you can also use a credit card. And if you have a marker embedded in a credit card that says, yes, this person is a confirmed over 18, I do not have a problem sharing a credit card number to verify my age. I don't have a problem. Now, do I want that on Facebook? No, that's a stupid idea. Keep your children off of Facebook. Social media is not good for them anyway. But on a XXX adult site, even that, I'm still kind of against it, because I have the fortitude not to go there. You can have the fortitude not to go there. We need to have systems in place where we can protect ourselves and our families easily. Unfortunately, right now, we are protecting businesses too much, to Louis Rossman's take. We should have every bit of free ability to modify our systems to protect ourselves and our families from the adult places on the internet, without me having to go in and verify ages. I should be able to do that. But if I'm an adult with no children in my house, there should not be any prohibition of me going somewhere I want to go. And by the way, that is, since we've been talking about the first half of it, the Christian message. I don't have to force you to agree with my Christian ideals. You're a pagan. My only objection with you as a pagan is to share with you the gospel. Let Jesus transform your heart, and then he'll transform your heart to go, ew, I don't want to go to the adult superstore anymore either. Problem solved. I'm not going to force the morality on you. But that's what this bill is trying to do. It's trying to force the morality on the entirety of the internet, and it makes it to the point where the only people who can exist on the internet are the mega corporations. This is a mass consolidation of companies. Every small forum that cannot please content. I mean, just look, we had to erase like 40 messages in 10 minutes on our Matrix server because somebody was being an idiot over there. Okay, well, the way this law is written, if that stuff doesn't come down in like 3.2 seconds, you're banned, and then you're going to get sued for billions of dollars by the FTC. Meanwhile, of course, these other guys can engage in wholesale abuse and nothing happens. Don't do that again, dude. We'll talk about it over coffee tomorrow, you know. But here's the problem is, at the center of the bill is a requirement for the platforms to exercise reasonable care to prevent and mitigate sweeping lists of harms to minors, including depression, anxiety, eating disorders, substance abuses, bullying, or compulsive usage. Okay, it claims to bar lawsuits over viewpoints of users, but that's a smokescreen, and I agree with that. Those companies, the smaller competitors, will be left scrambling to comply under the Kids Online Safety Act. Small platform hosting mental health discussion boards will just be as vulnerable as Meta or TikTok, but much less able to defend itself. So Meta and TikTok have AI systems that'll simply overly censoriously flag everything it thinks is a problem. But if it's a legitimate site, like, you know, I've done work for psychosis organizations. Was it the Society for Psychosis, right? I've done some websites for them before. Well, they couldn't exist without having some of these things, and the Kids Online Safety Act would shut their sites down. That's a problem because they can't police that kind of stuff. To avoid liability, the platforms will have to over-censor. When the safest legal option is to delete the forum, the platforms will delete the forum. So the carve-outs do not solve the First Amendment problem. Liability in the Kids Online Safety Act attaches to the platform, not the user. So if the FTC can sue a platform because minors saw a medical forum discussing anorexia or posts about LGBTQ identity or posts discussing how to help a friend who's depressed, that is censorship. That forum will have to shut down. I mean, think of Reddit. I mean, people discuss this stuff on Reddit. Lawmakers who support Kids Online Safety Act today are choosing to trust the current administration and future administrations to define what youth, and to some degree all of us, should be allowed to read online. Do not let them use these Roblox situations and the meta and the character AI. These are all things that we seriously need to look at. But under no circumstance do we ever want to allow all of this nonsense to happen, to allow them to push the Kids Online Safety Act. It is a dangerous bill for full-fledged censorship. It's going to drive all of the worst parts of the internet deeper where censorship is unable. You're unable to censor entirely. It's going to cause more societal issues if we do that. Don't let them do this. So what's the solution? You need to start parenting your children. You need to keep kids off the internet. And if they're just on the internet anyway, I can't stop them. Well, I guess we're going to have some consequences of mentally ill children. Because we cannot police the internet. The internet is supposed to be just like the world. The world is not a place for children to wander unfettered about. And the internet is not either. That's what it boils down to. All right, we're going to jump on over to our comments for a few minutes. Wow, that was an hour straight of talking. I definitely need myself a little break there. All right, let's check in on we're going to check in on Matrix first. Of course, our Matrix is getting so big now that we got here. Late, but I made it. Greetings, War Thunder. I suspect that these things that churches use are just tools to give government the collected data. Well, that's the problem, is they're giant silo data that anybody can get, and yes, the government still buys it. And that's the problem. Let's see. Right now, the government's going to do with the data. Yep. Oh, dang. Discord was just invaded. Let's see. Discord or Matrix? I'm no fan of mega churches. I can tell you I will be careful where I hang my hat after a local church burned us, my wife and myself. Yeah, it took 3 years. Our old ex-church finally put out an advert for needing help with audio IT support. Basically, they rode us into the ground with. Some people are just crazy. Yep. We can see some Tom on fire here. Yeah, I'm going to get the forehead chip so I can headbutt the credit card reader to pay for my groceries. That's right. That's what you should do. Lead to a brain hemorrhage. Yeah. Let's see. Yep. Apparently we were out for a little bit. 50% under 16 play Roblox. The other 50% are pedos. That is about right. No, I'd say it's 50%. 50% under 16 play Roblox. I'd probably say it's about 40% pedos and 10% pedo hunters. Getting smaller because they keep on banning them. Our technology will always do technology things. I was just hoping the T1000 didn't catch up with them. Children should not be online without supervision. Yes, that is correct. No party like a Diddy party. More like a diddle party. Who was it? One of them came out with that nickname, P. Diddle. I think it was some ordinary gamers. Online Safety Act will be the death of the internet. That's the parents' job, not the government's. Yeah, unfortunately, the internet might already actually be dead. That's right. All right, let's check in over on Rumble. 13 watching over on Rumble. Anchorage over there. Hello, Dan. Greetings to you. Realm Dweller. Sounds like crazy glue. That's right. Hey, man, finally caught you live. Let me thank you for all, especially the Gabble type news last week. Oh, awesome, man. Well, thank you. I'm glad you caught us live. Checked into Enoch AI by Mike Adams Brigton. No, I have not. Ushers swarm like the black van government types. Yeah, that's right. Stocker Church wants you. Thought the talking potty training toy toilets were creepy enough. I swear the one my sister had for my niece was possessed. Apparently we had an outage over on Matrix, I guess. I don't know. I didn't catch it. We got 15 watching over on Odyssey. We're in Odyssey. So hold on. Let me go ahead and mark where I was over there. All right. Most churches take Paul to teach. If you haven't done anything, you don't have anything to worry about. But forget the Romans. Relieved him of his head, and it bounced 3 times. There you go. Can't attend this church. My AI social credit score is too low. Maybe think back to the weekly news episode where we featured it. Finally caught the live stream. Hello, Linux Gaming. Greetings to you. Yeah, my first live stream too. Simply never available then. All right. Well, thank you guys for hanging out. All this underpinned by the seeker-friendly movement. I had to read Warren's book while getting my theology degree. One of the reasons I left the evangelicals is, evangelicals need to reclaim their churches. Yeah, I remember when Warren's book first came out, all these churches were sending out like commitment cards to read the book and do everything it says for 40 weeks. I looked at it. I did not do that, and actually strengthened a friend of mine who's sitting next to me who said that me not putting that in the offering plate made him not put it in the offering plate. And he asked me about it later, and I said, I'm not committing to read a book that I don't know anything about, written by a human author, and do everything it says. I'm sorry. I have a brain. I'm going to read the book. I'll read the book, fine. But I'm not going to do everything I'm not going to commit to do everything it says because I don't know what's in there. You know, you're boring me to death with your religious BS. Why don't you bitch and whine about it over, stupid evangelical, and stop wasting our time? Because this stuff is deeply, in case Tux Tornado, you missed any of this, turn on your brain a little bit. All of these churches are utilizing all the same systems of the world. That's why. Goes way beyond the church. Absolutely. Running this tech to your dumb church, the same ones who are genociding innocent people in Gaza. Objectively, okay, let's say this. Okay, innocent people in Gaza, the innocent people who flew over and without any prompting attacked them. No, that's not innocent people in Gaza, by the way. But yes, it is the same people who are fighting back against the people unrighteously attacking them. Yes, it is. All right. Let's see. Okay. Casserole doesn't tempt me. Smoking lots of chicken and pork for the church now. There you go. Casserole was invented here in New Hampshire. Props to the Granite State. All right. Okay. Let's see. I'm glad no one mentioned pizza. I want barbecue pork. I want pizza. Pizza always good. There you go. All right. Going to have to send this LS to my priest, except for an interpretation of MOTB. He's very interesting and glad I tuned in. All right. And tell them to stop being lazy and read the Bible. There you go. Oh, we're going to get to reading the Bible later on. Yeah, AI should have an age restriction. But again, the internet should have an age restriction. But the fact of the matter is, people are not willing to do that. The AI for Jesus knocked offline. Oh dear. The AI Jesus, that was a church in Sweden about 6 months ago or so. All right. Let's see. And let me comment that you elect him now. Feel the pain. Feel the pain. It was proposed under Biden. All right. Let's see. Thank you again for that super chat, Commodore fan. Let's see if I can figure out where we're at over here. I'm going to do just a few more here. We'll do 4 minutes of the YouTube chat, and then we're going to get into our quick lines, feed the beast, and then we will wrap it all up. Put a little white makeup and some lipstick. You could play the campy 1960s Joker. Nice. They got me. All right. Let's see. It's all good. Let's see. Kindle also runs Linux, so they have experience with customizing Linux for their purpose. Yeah, there you go. Greetings, Night of Light. How's it going there? We got a treat for you at the end of this show, Night of Light. This is the reason I've not included church management software in my distro. I saw this coming. Oh yeah. Well, I don't mind if it's all run locally. That's cool. You have a local database. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. It's when you're sending it up to the cloud and allowing them to scrape it for everything else. Church tries to do that. New visiting people with cars in the pews, but they don't push it that hard. Yeah, I mean, hey, offer it. That's fine. But when you're hunting people down that explicitly walked past your welcome desk and then you won't take no for an answer, you're crazy. I actually listed it as the stalker church. Yeah. A person is not too hard to find because of my work. Half my small town has my phone number and work email. Thankfully, they don't abuse it. Church as a service. Oh, dear. Yep. Database used the church software is to know who did not worship the beast during the tribulations. Amen, brother. There it is. Just spit tea on the keyboard, kind of drawing the towel at an angle. Thank you for onboard keyboard. Sorry, man. Certain point, they'll become digital missionaries and will be treated the same. Yeah. Not a fan of mega churches. Went to my sister's really big church once for Easter service. It was too big. There was the local baseball park fields. Felt weird. Yep. And mostly fake Christians and hip-hoppy rock music. Yep. Still highlighter to use my videos. Let's see. Yeah, I'm no fan of big churches, and I can tell you I will be careful where I hang my hat after the local church burned us. Yep. All right. Let's see. Got 2 more minutes, then we'll jump back over to the stream. Let's see. 5A just did that a month ago. Just bought a 9A to replace it. Really don't like the Samsung phones. Oh, what happened with the 5A? Had an older Pixel 9A this week. I can pass down my 8A to my mother. Yeah, there you go. Okay, yo, you passed down the 5A. Also, sometimes get warmer. Stay on the stock build. They get Android updates before any other phones. Yeah. I put graphene on my Pixel phones. Say less of updates, at least stabilize the phone enough. I can ride it out, reconsider brands when I'm done. Yeah. Pixel phones overall are easy to root and install custom ROMs. Yeah, do Graphene OS if you got Pixel. I mean, Graphene OS, I think they kind of won me over. I definitely do Lineage, but absolutely Graphene is good. Let's see. This is one of the reasons I decided to develop my own fleet of apps. Currently working on them. Takes a lot of time to work around the madness in the Linux community right now. Oh yeah, it does. That is for sure. Okay, dang, almost forgot to like the video. Yeah, like the video, everyone. A couple of them, but indeed, headphone jack, plug in the car, be able to charge the phone at the same time. Danger, Will Robinson. Wow, that's right. Okay, possible. Okay, it's impossible for the pastor to know the people of a mega church. Yeah, that's why they need the software. It's the only reason a church are never building, never a building. And I think that the concept of a church, that the reason that church buildings weren't in the Book of Acts is because it was illegal under the Roman law. Okay, we see precedent for creating the churches, but the way many churches operate now is a little bit more corrupt than they were supposed to be. The institution of a church is not necessarily a bad thing, but the way it's implemented in many instances is. All right, we're going to put a pin in the comments right there, and then we are going to jump on over to the QuickLines. So let's go ahead and get started on QuickLines. First up, Perplexity responds to Cloudflare's comments. As we talked about this, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? I forget. It was recently we talked about Cloudflare did a bunch of tests showing that even though it explicitly was blocking Perplexity, they said that Perplexity was still in there. Perplexity defends itself saying that Cloudflare was Cloudflare's experiment showed that they were respecting it because, according to them, Perplexity does not actually go on and crawl anything until somebody makes a request to look at it. Therefore, what's crawling it is not a bot that has to respect the robots.txt, but was actually the agentic AI feature scrolling it on specific behalf of a user. So is that a valid claim or not? That's an interesting one. I would like to see Cloudflare respond to that, but Perplexity published a response to Cloudflare's claim it disrespects robots.txt, engages in stealthy crawling. Perplexity argues Cloudflare is mischaracterizing AI assistants as web crawlers, saying they should not be subject to the same restrictions since they are user-initiated assistants. So according to Perplexity, its system does not store or index content ahead of time. Instead, it fetches web pages only in response to specific user questions. For example, when a user asks for recent restaurant reviews, the assistant retrieves and summarizes the relevant content on demand. Perplexity compared this to the on-demand fetching of Google user-triggered fetches, although that is not an apples-to-apples comparison because Google user-triggers fetches are on the service of reading text aloud or site verification. It's still an example of user triggered. So that's kind of what they're saying. So I'm not really going to comment much more on that, just presenting the other side of the story. Frankly, I think Perplexity and Cloudflare are both dangerous companies that should not be regulating most of the internet. UK has backed down on demand to access U.S. Apple user data. Now, what we did not get in this is, of course, J.D. Vance goes over there, and then Donald Trump went over and sneered nastily at them, and they was like, okay, we're going to back off. We don't want to get Trump mad, you know. So the UK government dropped the insistence that Apple allow law enforcement officials backdoor access to U.S. customer data, Tulsi Gabbard said. It does not stop the UK from accessing UK users' data, but it does stop them from accessing everybody's data. So we're not completely out of the woods yet, but it is a step in the right direction. They said this would have enabled access to the protected encrypted data of American citizens and encroached on our civil liberties. J.D. Vance said, I don't want American citizens to be spied on, which is really hilarious. J.D. Vance, please examine the spying on that is being done by churches and other groups in America. J.D. Vance, I agree with you. I do not want American citizens spied on either. Can we stop the data brokers because they're spying on us? I said it's crazy that we're creating a backdoor in our own technology networks that our enemies are now using. Yes, you are. Tell the data brokers industry to die, please. That meant uniquely many UK customers were unable to benefit from end-to-end encryption of services, including iCloud Drive, photos, notes, or reminders, making them more vulnerable to data breaches. It is not clear whether the technical capability notice requiring data access would be withdrawn altogether or just altered. Neither is it clear whether Apple will be able to offer new UK customers access to the data protection or not. So there's some pushback from the UK, but it's not a complete reversal of the policy. Most of this deals with a global backdoor encryption into Apple. Instagram Map. If you happen to be using Instagram, please stop. Use something else. But if you do use Instagram, there is a brand new feature that they are turning on, effective, rolling it out, actually kind of rolled out earlier this month. And as of mid-August, most people will have access to it, at least in a few select countries. The map feature allows that users may have enabled without being full aware of the consequences. It allows you to share your current location with your friends. So all those random people that you've just somehow friended with on Instagram can now see your real location. That's a bad idea. It's a really bad idea. Wow, that's a stupid idea. That gets dumber the more you think about it. Instagram Maps allow you to share your location with your friends, but already there's a first caveat. Are all your Instagram friends real friends, as in the kind you'd like to run into wherever they feel like it? Yeah. So this is actually a setting. You do have a few different things. You have friends, followers you follow back. So anybody that you're following each other. One of those is close friends. You can specifically choose. You can say only these friends. So again, you choose people, or don't share location at all. Of course, that's just not share location with your friends. Instagram, of course, always gets your location. So be aware of that. You can change those later on. But sharing location on Instagram app is not enabled unless you actively choose to share it. What will be what will be there is any posts that have location tagged. So if you visit a regular coffee shop regularly and you mention that, well, people will know where they have a high chance of running into you. Very amazing tool for, stalkers and things like that. So this is a terrifying thing. Of course, this is Meta. Remember that Meta has always rolled out new features, opt in until they toggle it to opt out. So just be aware of that. This one was a neat one. It's targeting the job seekers, and it was a fascinating spear phishing campaign to get into people's Facebook accounts. So since this is not everybody's looking for jobs, not everybody's looking for jobs at Netflix, we'll run through this quickly. But the concept can be used for any job one might be applying to. So if you're out there looking for something, or maybe they know that you're looking for a job because companies like Workday and a few other of these HR type companies, they all had breaches this week. It's getting too boring to comment on them. It's no longer news. It's like, I thought this was news. You're talking about data breaches again. That happens every week. That's not new, But they can identify people looking for jobs based on all of these databases and things. And so they can target specific people also based on information they have. So in this case here, they sent what appeared to be a AI poorly written, curiously, it was poorly written and potentially AI, email to somebody looking at some form of marketing job. So here's an invitation from Netflix. Oh yeah, you click the schedule interview button. And now the thing is actually blocked by Malwarebytes. They said they went through it anyway just to see. And here's the various posts. They say the website itself is a mix of content copied from actual Netflix site and of the phishing campaign. So you click on the schedule now, and it gives you the option to continue, log in with Facebook or continue with your email. If you put in your email and click continue with your email, it still goes to a Facebook login page. But here it's going to the Facebook login page, and then it says log in. You must log in to continue. So you hit the enter, and this is like those basic phishing pages that gets around your MFA. What they do is you enter the data, and it'll say, oh, wrong password, try again, thinking, oh, well, I must have mistyped a key. So you hit the password again. Well, in that time you were redoing it, they took your login, attempted to log in, and then they get a request for the code. And then, of course, that triggers a code going to you. Their login, not your login. Then the code thing asking for the code pops up because you've entered it the second way. You enter the code, they grab that code, feed it back in. Now they have accessed your Facebook account, bypassed your MFA, and now they can get in and do whatever they want to do. All because you clicked on a link because you wanted to work for Netflix. Shame on you. That'll teach you for wanting to work at Netflix. No, I'm kidding. We have another similar one, the latest fake Gmail security alerts. So the victim here gets an email or phone call allegedly from Google support that warns someone has tried to hack their account. Best way is to reset the password, the scammer says. So he was trying to actively recover my account and steal possession of it while on the phone with me, the Redditor says. So the caller upped the ante, asking him to look up the number, which showed that the Redditor accused him of being a scammer. He says, oh, look up the number, which called in the ID. Even hang up the number and call back. He was completely bluffing. If you call the number back, you cannot get a real human on the line. They don't staff that with agents, which is true. They said the scam messages tell people that the product they were sent failed to pass Amazon quality checks. So it's utilizing an Amazon system to get in there. That's a slightly different scam, but similar basic thing. This is funny though. It also says this is Google's guide to verifying that a security amount is legitimate. It says that all legitimate messages will appear on the security page of your Google account under recent activity. They say favorite commenter came from this who posted about the Google scammer. The best thing I've read regarding these attempts is, quote, Google will never call you out of the blue. They just don't care about your account, they said. Snarky, but true. There you go. So Google will not call you. They just don't care. If that wasn't obvious enough. Well, we got Noodle File. I guess this is the malware of the Flying Spaghetti Monster Church, right? So the Noodle File Stealer Evolution. So the Noodle File was, it's basically a crypto stealer, very similar to the one that captured Linus Tech Tips. It steals browser credentials, crypto wallets, session cookies, and installs Trojans like Xworm. Well, in the past, you'd have to do it by visiting some site. What they're doing now is they're using spear phishing emails disguised as copyright notices. So they're basically saying, oh, we found you're using our photo on your Facebook page. And, you click these over, and some of these emails you get are legitimately fake patent trolls, but some are actually just trying to scam you into installing malware. Probably many of these companies are doing both. We're going to fill you full of malware and then demand thousands of dollars for a fake copyright claim, because that's what they like to do, And now it's leveraging advanced spear phishing emails, posing as copyright infringement notices tailored with reconnaissance-derived details like specific Facebook IDs and the company ownership information. And basically, all they're doing is they're just trying to get you to click the link to install the malicious DLL. Of course, it's a DLL. It's a Windows virus. Sucker! And get in my Linux box. And then you basically, by doing this, you are going to be installing the Noodle File Stealer. It's going to connect to the command and control server, harvest a bunch of data, and install some Trojans. So that's kind of how that one's working. So be aware of that, I guess. There you go. And then next we have bad news. Most devs believe AI is going to kill most or all of their company's marketing department. So there you go. More jobs being lost. Entire junior marketing teams. Growing number of developers now believe artificial intelligence is poised to absorb much of what marketing teams currently do, news research claimed. Nearly 3/4 of respondents think AI could manage either most or all of their company's marketing responsibilities. And I am seeing boatloads of new AI-based marketing companies pop up. Every one of them I've seen is absolute hot AI slop garbage. I mean, it's talk about eggs erroneous. Ugh. All right, LibreOffice is managing AI the right way so far. There is an AI extension allowing you to do image generation for Libre Writer and Libre Impress. But as their office was very clear, they do not use anything with AI embedded into the core of the program, but they do allow AI extensions, meaning that developers who would like to embed any form of AI functionality into LibreOffice are welcome to do that through extensions and make those extensions available. So they say here, LibreOffice does not include artificial intelligence out of the box, but some people want these features. So in this case here, this is a person who had already had an AI image generator that was a GIMP plugin, and all they did is they went back through and they reworked it to work with LibreOffice instead. And once they did that, now you can install it, and it will use a cloud-based AI generation tools. But the good news is here is LibreOffice is not putting any AI into its system. However, AI extensions are possible if you are interested in such things. And next on, this is an interesting one here, NextDNS. So I use NextDNS on my Graphene OS phone. Of course, the one thing I do not like about Graphene OS that I liked about Lineage is on Lineage I can modify the hosts file. On Graphene, you can't. And so the way I do my ad block lists on Graphene is by using NextDNS. And I use my phone so little that the free NextDNS account is sufficient for my needs. You can pay for them if you're doing a lot more queries than I do. But what you can do then is you can go into NextDNS and you can configure it any way you like. I have mine configured to block all adult sites. It blocks all marketing sites, all advertising sites, all tracking sites, session replay sites, everything. I have it blocking a lot of stuff. And that way I can confidently use my phone without seeing any advertisements. And the advantage I have with NextDNS, like you'd have with Pi-hole and other things like that, is, and unlike the host file on Lineage, I would have to keep on updating that host file on Lineage. Whereas on NextDNS, they will automatically update those various blocking scripts based on new data that is available. Well, now they are actually rolling out a new feature to bypass age verification checks on adult websites. And so before you look at this and go, oh, that's so horrible, also remember that NextDNS allows me to block every form of adult website. So NextDNS is really walking that line exactly the way it should be walked. You have total control over your account. Would you like to make your internet extraordinarily safe for children, or would you like to engage in degeneracy without uploading an ID? Cool. I'm down with it. So as much as I'm not a huge fan of that, now the good news is too, is if you are a parent, NextDNS might be something you want to do on your kid's phone. I'm not sure if there's a way you can lock them out of changing the DNS down the way. I don't know. But you can set this up, and then you can even, now I have my logs turned off. You can turn the logs on and see everything that an individual device is accessing. You can get that level of detail with NextDNS. You can grab all those logs. I have all mine turned off, of course. But you can do that. You can block anything you want to block. You can allow anything you want to allow. You can apparently bypass age verification checks. The way this works is basically using a proxy type system. It's going to change the IP address to be a different IP address, one that's outside of a country that requires such things. So kudos to NextDNS. I'd highly encourage you to have a look at that. Well, more subscription services are rolling out. This time it's the Volkswagen is locking horsepower behind a paid subscription. That's right. You can buy your car, which is a 228 horsepower potential, but it only ships with 201 horsepower potential unless you pay £1,650 per month to unlock that. Total 165 pounds per year, or you can pay 649 pounds to unlock it permanently. So there you go. You can pay more money to unlock your phone so that you can utilize all of these issues. So there you go, folks. We are now locking the extra horsepower of our vehicles behind subscription services. This is getting absurd. And on to our last article here in our QuickLines, how your solar rooftop became a national security issue. Yes. Well, it turns out that most of the inverters that people are using on their home solar systems, most of these inverters are actually easily hackable. They're all on the Wi-Fi. Someone can, now that it does require somebody to come in and actually access your Wi-Fi network, and they have to be able to get into your Wi-Fi first. So if you have a good, strong Wi-Fi password that's difficult to crack, then, you know, that's it. All of our Wi-Fi passwords are pretty easy to crack these days. So someone drives to your house, cracks your Wi-Fi password, starts messing with a solar inverter. So those solar inverters, they are connected to your Wi-Fi and do all sorts of weird shenanigan-y stuff. And it turns out there's a major security bulletin that caused the CISA to publish a security advisory. Basically, it was sending a bunch of data unencrypted and allowing people to seize control of them and do all sorts of weird stuff. And when you can get into somebody's power supply system and start funking around with all of their data, ooh, weird stuff starts to happen. Weird stuff starts to happen. Okay. And so the reality here is that having these internet connected inverters, power resources is frightening. Even me, when I built my battery, I'm such a geek. I built my battery in my van. Yeah. I bought individual battery cells, wired them together in a combination of series and parallel to build a single 200 amp battery. And then I bought a BMS. When I bought all the components, they're like, oh, we are out of our new BMSs. I'm like, those ones with Bluetooth? Oh yeah, we're out of those. I said, you have any without Bluetooth? Oh, like, oh yeah, we got a pile of those. Oh yeah, send me those. I don't want Bluetooth crap, you know? I don't need to be driving down the road and some fool who's bored in the lane next to me starts accessing my BMS system with their phone. No, thank you. And so, yeah, I mean, I can see bore analytics. Yeah, I can do that with a shunt too. All right, so they now serve as the backbone of home energy installations, monitoring performance, communicating with the utility companies, and where there's excessive power, feeding it back in the grid. The problem is when this advisory came out, they didn't really inform their customers very well. And so customers went to Reddit and started complaining. Communication between monitoring applications and inverters that incurred in unencrypted plain text firmware updates that lacked integrity checks and rudimentary authentication procedures. And this is the problem we get with a lot of this new type of tech. You know, like some of my solar control system I have in here, some of my solar control stuff is Renergy. I trust Renergy to do a really good job of solid security implementation, but some of the stuff I have in here is like the NovoPal inverter, which after reading this article, I'm finding out that most inverter stuff comes from Huawei, and I'm wondering, are there hidden bugs in my inverter? Now, my inverter's not internet or Wi-Fi connected, but it still makes me wonder, is there something funky going on? I don't know. And so some of these solar systems, they are quite susceptible to hacking. So for whatever that happens to be worth. So there is our QuickLines. Of course, we have our SillyVille yet to go, folks. Are we ready for SillyVille? Of course you're ready for SillyVille. First up in SillyVille, PETA demands that Nintendo remove the nose ring from the cow character on Mario Kart. Hey, Nintendo, let the cow race free. Remove her nose ring. Of course, their whole thing goes back. All these earrings were signs of slavery, which, by the way, is true. Biblical. Since we started with the Bible, we'll end with it a little bit here. Yeah, Leviticus. If a slave is let free, and there was a time in Israelite law that a slave had to be let free every 7 years, and they'd go and be let free. If they said, I like my master, I like my family, I do not want to be free, they would go and they would pierce the ear on the house of the door, and they would wear the earring, and the earring was the sign you were a slave. Kind of funny, right? It's from Leviticus. All right. Hey, Nintendo, let the cow race free. Remove her nose ring, they say. And, of course, they're talking about, nose rings are a sign of slavery. They're painful, blah, blah, blah. It's not a style choice. It's a cruel tool used to control and hurt cows in the meat and dairy industries, which causes lasting pain and discomfort. Take the ring out of the cow's snout. She's not a slave. We demand to be taken seriously. Yes, the retard finder. At I Find Retards on X, says 90% of your supporters have the same nose ring. Ooh, that's some truth right there. And so there are some other wins. You don't have anything better to do, like saving real animals? Also making the cow drive a car that's obviously way too small for him, her, or they. So good. The cow seems happy. You're just miserable. All right. There you go. All right. On to our next news here is Cambridge decided to add a bunch of Gen Z words to the dictionary. Good luck deciphering what they mean. So, there's skibbity, right? So Sky News reported Cambridge Dictionary added some Zoomer lingo to their official dictionary. What the skibbity is happening to the English language? Skibbity, one of the slang terms populated by social media that are among more than 6,000 editions this year. And the problem with most of these words is they don't actually have real meanings. They could mean multiple different things. Skibbity can have a number of different meanings, including good or bad, cool or even weird. It can even have no meaning at all. It can just be a gibberish sound, popularized by the creator of course, Skibbity Toilet. How wonderful. And so, they're adding these words to the dictionary. We have delulu, of course, which is just a slang version of delusional, right? We have Luke. Luke, I am a different word. Playing words, meaning a particular style, fashion, or outfit, of course. Tradwife. See, these aren't words. These are just abbreviations. We should be taking these with as much stock as we took Ebonics with, which, by the way, we did study a section on in intercultural communications in college. I'm not totally oblivious to the concept of Ebonics. In fact, I might break into random Ebonics here in a few minutes, just so you know. All right, Brolerky. Of course, a blend, of course, of brothers. You notice how all of these are just abbreviations. Bro and oligarchy. Small group of men, especially those in tech who are rich and powerful. There you go. Work wife, work spouse, inspo, inspiration. So got some clips of the prime minister talking about kind of stuff. But of course, what did I think of when I saw this? Well, to end where we started, going full circle. Apologies to our highly offended person over there on on Odyssey, but Lifeway actually attempted to do a Gen Z Bible translation. Ultimately, they removed the controversial teen devotional after online backlash, but it didn't end there, unfortunately. So here were some of the glorious verses inside of their devotional. Moses yeeted the sea. How wonderful. Dude got his ear clapped, and Jesus was like, chill, fam, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Yeah. Be salty and lit, fam. There you go. I used to be a noob. Now I'm not a noob. Lil E was cruising and some dudes were roasting his socks off, which made him big mad. And some big mama bears came and made the squad din-din. That's right. Since day uno, there was Cap G. Big J was chilling with Cap G. And Big J was Cap G. That was John 1:1. And I Marco Polo'd Cap G, and he didn't leave me on the reed and snatched up all my scaries. That's Psalm 34. And so they got a lot of backlash over this because rightly so. Of course, that didn't stop some moron from being able to create the whole thing. And by the way, I did look into this slightly further. And yes, this is not the exact same thing as Lifeway's Gen Z Bible translation devotional. As you can see here, Exodus 14:21 in this one is Moses yeeted the sea. Well, there is now a Gen Z Bible at genz.bible. And the same verse here, Exodus 14, what was that? 14:21. Oh, maybe I did have it wrong. Moses totally raised his hand and flexed it over the sea. And then the Lord was like, yo, I got this. He made the epic strong wind blow that night from east. And guess what? It actually made the sea pull a reverse Uno card, transforming it into solid ground and splitting the water in half. Talk about a total power move. I think somebody's probably going to hell. I hope it's not me for reading these in a Bonic style. I just can't help it but to bust on into all this kind of stuff. We did look at several different verses. Let's go ahead and have a look at a couple more of them here. This is blasphemous, though. This is absolute blasphemy. So like, this is John 1:1. So like when everything started, there was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was actually God. That's not horrible. It's been there with God from the very start, you know. He totally created everything. Like, seriously, nothing was made without him making it. And he was full of life, and that life brought light to everyone. So the light was shining in darkness. Darkness wasn't totally light. Like, this is annoying, but it's not horrendous. We were reading some terrible, horrendous ones last night. Let me go back to Genesis 4. Down here, look at this one. Adam and Eve did the deed, and she got pregnant and gave birth to Cain. She said, I acquired a man with God's help, of course. Of course, what happened to him down here? Have a look at this top-notch translation. After a while, Cain decided to bring an offering to the Lord. He brought some fruits from the ground in his offering, and Abel rolled up with some top-notch sheep and some prime fat from his flock. And man, the big man upstairs was totally feeling it, and he showed mad love to Abel in his offering. But God did not approve of Cain and his offering. This made Cain really angry and upset. Totally surprised that translation. And God was like, dude, why are you so pissed? What's up with that gloomy face of yours? Yo, if you're doing things right, won't you be accepted? But if you're not, sin is hanging around and ready to trip you up. And my friend have the power to rule over you. Hashtag respect. So Cain and Abel were having a convo, you know, just chilling in the field. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Cain straight up attacked Abel and unfortunately killed him. And God was like, hey, Cain, where's your brother Abel? And Cain was like, IDK, man. Am I supposed to be responsible for him? And God was like, dude, what did you do? Your brother's blood is literally calling out to me from the ground. It's like super intense cry for justice, you know, hashtag bloods. I didn't see hashtag Crips in here anywhere, but, you know. You can kind of see where this is going. If Gen Z lingo starts to take over, that's going to be the next, like, remotely attempting to be serious Bible translations. And this is absolute heretical nonsense. I'm very saddened to see that nothing from Revelation seems to load. We just get blank pages with Revelation, unfortunately. So Let's just go back to that one there. But you can see that this is absolute heretical nonsense. This is the type of stuff that gives people who do serious work on Bible translation a bad name. But I got news that this is where adding Gen Z words to the dictionary ultimately lead us. And before I get lightning bolts cast upon me from the Lord God Almighty above, I'm just going to end right here by talking about, you can have a look over at our affiliates page if you want to help support the channel. Using our affiliates or checking a look at our monthly supporter platforms is a good way to do that as well. Thank you guys for watching, and we are going to go on over and feed the beasts. Let me round myself up a kitty cat or two and see if I can get some kitties. Hey, kitty cat, you want some kitty treats? You want some kitty treats? You want some kitty treats? Oh, come here. Come here. Come here. Here's a kitty. And here's a kitty treat. Oh, yeah. Oh, look at that. Yeah. Oh, as if you all want to see that view. Ugh. Alrighty, folks. Alrighty. We're going to wrap up with some comments here. And, yikes. Alrighty, let's have a look here. And jump to unread comments. Why is the Mastodon logo crossed out? Because Fostodon decided to ban me for a wrong think. Apparently I'm a megaphobe. Yes. And frankly, the only thing, like the one video they flagged, I think it was, they didn't like the fact that I had a SillyVille article talking about the rioters in Los Angeles that were calling Waymo taxis to light them on fire because they're psychopathic lunatics who seem to think that Donald Trump is actually the devil incarnate or something. I don't know. The people at Fostodon are probably the same people that run the Gnome Foundation, and they're a bunch of woke idiots. So, you know, don't go over there expecting to have any real conversation about FOSS software. So that's the case. Should have been a microphobe. No, I'm a megaphobe. Come on, man. I'm phobic against everything. They didn't like some Postmate. Like, no, they didn't even say what it was. They didn't respond to anything. So they're just a bunch of idiots. Yeah, run by a bunch of liberals, always going to be trash. Yeah. So, you know. Let's see. Don't mind that. So I just leave it up there and mention it anytime somebody says it because it's funny. Sadly, Nextcloud blocks Google Play services, and I need those. No, you can whitelist Google Play services. You can whitelist anything you want over there. Let's see. Best to just give your kids a phone, but nowadays that's not possible. No, you can also give your kids a dumb phone. If they did, it's like, I need to communicate with you. Give them a dumb phone. There's plenty of them out there. You can buy them at Best Buy, by the way, although they're usually targeted towards old people. Tom has risen my aura with no cap skibbity. That's right. Keeping my mouth shut. I'm too old for these words. Boomer in my chat. I'll use hippie slang. You's really killing my buzz, dude. Far out. I'm a millennial with a brain mentality older than I am. Yeah. And I just died of laughter hearing Tom. That's I know, right? I know. Whoa, no cap. My trad wife is transitioning. I want to see them get JD up in the Quran. Name you Tom. Don't need to rap about it. I think that section of Gen Z Bible doesn't load because they didn't think you'd make fun of it. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. I like how these spineless Zoomer heretics don't try to retranslate the Quran. Yeah, there you go. God incarnate, you mean they love the devil? Yeah, there you go. Short video. And that's pretty average length. All right, we got 9 currently watching over on Rumble. Maxine at 11. 503 churches are control grids. One AI fighting the other, the AI civil war. There you go. Haven't been to church in a long time. Don't miss it at all. All right. Let's see. Done watching the Zion Cook fool. All right, that's fine. Go away, Tux Tornado. Don't care. All right. Still watching. Must really love the show. Yeah, there you go. Been a great stream. See you next time. The church is so big the pastor cannot know the people. It's too big. Yeah, that's the problem. There's a few that have done it well, but not a lot. Gotta go. Catch the next one. Hopefully I'll catch one of the Patreon live streams at some point. Yeah, those are more off-air hangouts, but yeah, please join us. The links are over there on Patreon. Wonder what the Gen Z Bible has to say about Leviticus 20:13. Leviticus 20. I'll read some from it. Leviticus 20:13. If a guy hooks up with another guy like he does with a girl, it's considered totally messed up. They need to face the consequences, and it's on them. It's accurate translation. Yeah, there you go. Romans. That's your classic New Testament verse on similar subjects. Specifically 24-32. So basically, God let them follow their own selfish desires, ended up dishonoring their bodies by indulging in impurity and doing inappropriate things with others. Like, seriously, who flipped the script on God's truth and started believing straight up lies? And not only that, they started putting all their energy and attention to things created rather than the ultimate creator who's totally blessed forever. Amen. No cap. Or no instead. All right. And so God allowed them to pursue impure desires because even some of their women turned away from their natural desires and engaged in unnatural relationships. And just like that, the guys, instead of engaging in natural relationships with women, developed intense desires for each other. They started engaging in inappropriate activities, which goes against what is considered acceptable. And a consequence of their mistake, they experienced the consequences they deserved. But since they refused to acknowledge God, he allowed them to follow their own foolish thoughts and engage in inappropriate behavior, like they were just full of this uncool stuff, like doing things they shouldn't be doing and totally wicked, greedy, all mean and stuff. They were just oozing with jealousy, literally killing each other with their word, always causing drama. Love it. Lying, being super shady. Oh, and they couldn't stop gossiping. It was like their favorite hobby or something. People who talk behind others' backs, hate God, spread negativity, act arrogant, boast about themselves, come up with wicked ideas, disobey their parents. They totally don't get it, always breaking promises, showing zero empathy, impossible pleas, showing no mercy, being all antisocial and stuff. Those who understand God will judge those who engage in such actions and deem them deserving of death, and only partakes in those actions themselves, but also applaud and derive enjoyment from others. That's very interesting because it's very not woke. It's very not woke, which is totally contrary to what we would expect. But it's just weird. Let's see. And back over on Zatubies, 44 currently watching on Zatubies. Try to suggest Rumble, but their TV app is not great. Oh, that's a bummer. Host for free, no ads in GitHub, but you need to know a little about HTML and give your soul to Microsoft. Don't forget that. We're at web pages from code. Take that back. You can do it with no code. Yeah. Okay. We have a lot of congregation that's of boomer and older generation. They can barely use their phones. It's best to do the KISS method. Yep. Chip I want in my hand is a potato chip. There you go. If I'm going to get the forehead chip, I can headbutt the credit card reader and pay for my groceries. Yep. Salt and vinegar. Ugh, salt and vinegar. Why would you pollute potato chips by making them salt and vinegar? Ugh. Not my favorite, of course. Let's see. Kids pray for a toy for Christmas and parents get ads for it going forward. There you go. Yeah. The kid's over there speaking into mom's phone. It's like, where's the phone? Johnny wants what's a toy these days? I don't know. Johnny wants a toy. Johnny wants this toy. Johnny wants a certain toy, you know. And then, the ad keeps on posting for it. Do you have a kid that wants a toy? You know. Glue service is more red flags than a Chinese New Year's festival. Oh, yep. AI knows you so well it reads your mind. The cameras lip read them. Yep. Silent prayer is a thing, but good luck getting some young kids to understand that. How about AI empowered data harvested prayer? Like he ran out of data, and it's on Tom's end. The plane flew over. Did we lose? We didn't lose anything on my side necessarily. I have 0 drop frames. No, right now I'm on 4G. I don't know. Did the stream actually cut out? I am showing 0 drop frames on my end. So I don't know. I didn't see any indications of a drop frames at all. The machines get him. Tell Tom to duck and wave. Apparently we lost some stream back in the day. I don't know. Yeah, I am not aware of what happened. Yep. Character AI Teens OS has a minimum age of 13. They in for it. Yep. Okay. NSFA, not safe for anything? I don't know. Roblox banned an account trying to go after the perverts. Yep. And then a lot of other big Roblox guys had things to say about it that were not favorable to the company. I had unfiltered access. Mistakes were made. Yep. Well, routers just default to family-friendly filtering and make people go in and modify and turn it off. That would be an interesting solution. I wouldn't be completely opposed to that. Hold driver's licenses from parents on the ID screen bypassed. This posed no stop to a willing teen. Correct. Correct. So like a zero knowledge proof. I remember Q-Link. Oh, is that like the QuickLink message center? Oh, it was so revolutionary when I could actually connect my headphones and stuff to the computer and dial and talk to a friend through the computer. It was so revolutionary. It was amazing. Normal amounts of data leaking from driver's license. Yeah. We saw it happen with the T app just a few months. Yep. Maybe we should have a virtual offline internet. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I mean, the challenge is it's always up to the parents. And if the parents aren't going to be parents, I guess we have consequences. What's next to do? Well, you got to start locking up the kids when they break actual laws. You know? If the parents don't want to parent, maybe we need to lower the age of accountability for kids. Maybe we need to add a second tier of the justice system for teenagers. Mom, a gaming PC, I'm thinking of loading Bazzy on it. 4-year-olds having smartphones these days. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I've seen it. It's frightening. Dude is free to not watch the stream if they don't like it. Yeah, there you go. Yep. Jehovah's Witnesses went digital. Now they have websites and digital presences they use to condemn anything on the internet. Yeah. Now I want a pizza. All right. Pizza. Core i5, 7th generation laptop, AMD. Don't know what Linux is. Find your channel. Just now, can you tell me? I hate Windows. I want to go for Linux. Which one do you use? Linux Mint all the way. So, okay. You have an i5 7th generation AMD. I'm guessing the AMD is the graphics card. because an i7 processor would be Intel. That's weird to have an Intel processor and an AMD graphics. Actually, my new computer might have that though. Hold on, because I know my new computer isn't Intel processor. What's my graphics? Yeah, usually if you had an Intel processor on a laptop, you'd probably have Intel graphics as well. That's what this one has. I know the only times I've seen a laptop with an AMD graphics card was also a Ryzen processor. I think that's what I have on my other one. But anyway, Linux Mint, I generally just recommend Linux Mint under most cases of new users. Yeah, Jesus, phone booths were a thing in the movie THX 13. Think about Debian 13. I only looked at it briefly. I like it. I mean, it's Debian. It works. It's good. It has the latest versions. Yeah, it's my brief testing of it on real hardware was good. Got tired of Ubuntu and Linux Mint. I used Ubuntu for years. I mean, you always just do Arch, you know. Solus is a good one. I've been a Linux Mint guy for over 2 years now. FreeCAD is tough. Use some plugins to help UI. I'm going to try and use it since my needs are basic. Yeah. Arch KDE on the main NixOS terminal. There you go. Thinking I will not be releasing my future distro as an ISO. It'll be an image file where I can pack everything into it for USB flash drive and or hard drive. Okay. Yeah, they are formatted a little bit differently. An image file, though, you can write to any type of disk easily. An ISO is more like a bootable file. So the image, you'd have the extra step, but you can restore it onto any type of drive or partition. So that's where I think Tails is now shipping images more than ISOs, for example. Well, I heard from Lunduke today that if you have issues with Wayland, they're your problem, not the developers. Why are microinverters on a network? That's a really good question. A lot of it, though, has to do with home smart meters. Has to do with the laws requiring the government to keep track of everybody's electricity use, which is utter nonsense. But they don't have Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, just like they have it. There you go. There are Bluetooth receivers at a lot of major intersections for traffic and crowd control. Yikes. You're kidding. The hose ring for the cow. Yeah. It's a ring that uses a logo. Yeah. It's even funnier is in Mario Kart World, you can drive around in the open world and go drive through the Universe burger chain and the cow eats a beef burger. The cow is into cannibalism, man. Saw the stupid skivvy toilet toys in Walmart cluttering up the main aisles. Oh, lordy. Just listening to the GZV makes me want to vomit. Yes, I'm with you. Or bust out into a Bonix. One of the two. My brain is leaving. Tired of laughter. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Keyboard so old he is a DIN pin number. There you go. Idiocracy. Yep. Good thing my distro is based on KJV only. No way I'll put that garbage Bible translation on distro. That sounds like when there is a hippie on a comedy show. Yeah. Oh dear. Yeah, Mastodon is woke. Salt and vinegar is amazing. Prefer sour cream. I prefer a jalapeno or a barbecue chip. Those are better. Of course, I did have a barbecue chip the other day that was. It did taste a whole lot like salt and vinegar. Ugh, I did not. They were not my favorite. I ate them because they were potato chips. But yeah, I dropped off for, but how long did we drop off for? Okay, did not drop for everybody, though. I think it was probably a local one. I have an AOL email from the 90s used for spam. Yep. Images are closer to raw format of the data. I would say yes. I would say if you're looking for something, yeah. About 3 minutes. Interesting. I'll have to check my feed and see if I lost it for 3 minutes too. Let's see. Wonder what the Gen Z violation. Okay, I think we read those. Censorship, age verification stuff is not about protecting kids. It's about power and control. You will own nothing, not your words and thoughts. Amen to that. Yep. Horrible translation, but I'm surprised it bothered to address engaging the sinful acts that God's works expressly denounced. Yeah, that's really weird. I'll read it in my Holy Bible at the end of the stream. Thanks. There you go. Let's see. Yeah, if you want to read that amazing one, it's at genz.bible. There you go. genz.bible. Yikes. Let's see. All right. I think we've gotten to the bottom of everything. Thanks for watching, everybody. And we will see you guys next